today we have freedom in this country. The reason we have freedoms in this country is because of the sacrifices and the heroism of our men and women in the United States Armed Forces during World War II. The United States had gone into World War II on December 7th of 1941 by the surprise attack on Pearl Harbor by the Japanese. The Japanese had a strategy at this time to overthrow and capture all the islands in the South Pacific. The U.S. at this time had the momentous task of stopping the Japanese from doing this. Their task was so momentous because after Pearl Harbor, the United States military had limited resources and ships in order to accomplish these tasks. I'm going to be talking about the Battle of Midway today. The reason I'm doing it because I've always enjoyed history. I've been really interested in naval battles all my life. I've read everything I could find on them and watched several different movies, both fictional and non-fictional. There was three main points I'm going to cover in this topic, are some of the events leading up to the Battle of Midway, the Battle of Midway itself, and the outcome of the battle and how it affected both nations. First of all, I'm going to talk about some of the events that led up to this battle. Of course, the bombing of Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941 was a major event that led up to it. But right after Pearl Harbor, on May the 7th and 8th of 1942, the U.S. and the Japanese fought a battle of the Coral Sea, which was the first naval battle entirely fought by carrier aircraft. After this battle was over, the Japanese had lost 3 carriers. The U.S. had lost the Lexington, but the Yorktown was also damaged. On May the 14th of 1942, there was a decryption unit based out of Pearl Harbor under Lieutenant Commander Roper. They intercepted and decoded Japanese transmitted messages. They came across a very important message, and Lieutenant Commander Roper figured out that Midway Island was going to be the next target for the Japanese to attack. Even though he was under a lot of pressure to prove this, a week later, through a deception the U.S. Navy devised, they had confirmation on the 20th of May that Midway was going to be the target. Now we'll get into the Battle of Midway itself. June the 2nd of 1942, the United States Navy had the Forces Task Force 16 under the command of Rear Admiral Jack Fletcher, which is him here in this picture, and Task Force 16 under the command of Rear Admiral Raymond Spruance. And the carriers in their command were the USS Yorktown, the USS Enterprise, and the USS Hornet. They positioned themselves 350 miles northeast of Midway Island. And the purpose for this position was twofold. One, to stop the Japanese if they were attacking Midway, because there was some skepticism whether Midway was a target. And number two, they were in that position in case the Japanese decided to bypass Midway and attack Pearl Harbor again. Either way, they were in a position to intercept them and stop them. On June the 4th of 1942, the Japanese fleet, under the command of Admiral Nagumo, he had his forces stationed 240 miles northwest of Midway. And under his command, he had 4 carriers: the Soryu, Hiryu, Akagi, and the carrier Kaga. On the same day, June the 4th, 42, at 6 a.m., the Japanese commenced the Battle of Midway by sending bombers to bomb Midway Island and U.S. forces there. About between 7 and 9 a.m. the same day, June the 4th, 1942, a U.S. Navy Catalina search plane spotted the Japanese forces, and Task Force 16 and 17 launched carrier planes to attack the Japanese fleet. About the same time, a Japanese search plane spotted the U.S. forces, and they too launched planes to attack the U.S. carriers. During this battle, there were numerous squadrons of U.S. planes that were shot down by the Japanese. But the end result was the Japanese lost all 4 of their carriers during this battle. The Soryu and the Kaga were sank the same day. The carrier Kagi actually sunk the day after. And a few days later, the Japanese had to scrap the carrier Akagi due to severe battle damage inflicted by the American fleet. But the U.S. fleet was not unscathed. During the battle, the Japanese planes hit the Yorktown so severely they had to abandon ship, and all they had left on there was a salvage crew trying to save it. And as the Yorktown was being towed after the battle, a Japanese submarine got through the destroyer screen and sunk the Yorktown with torpedoes. But the U.S. forces were able to stop the Japanese from taking over Midway Island. I'm going to discuss a little bit more about the outcome and how this battle affected the U.S. and Japan. For the Japan, it was a major defeat. The Japanese Imperial Navy was never again able to command superior strength anywhere in the South Pacific or other oceans of the world. But to the U.S., it established them as a superior naval force for the rest of the World War to carry out other actions to overthrow the Japanese off islands they had already overthrown and taken. And now, when World War II broke out, the United States citizens were so united and came together so greatly to achieve victory over foreign enemies. There has never again been such a uniting of this country, even after the 9/11 attacks. And I hope that we never have another World War that was as bad as World War II was or lasted as long as it did.